If you're looking for a really big project to make with your CNC table router, this is the one. Now you might be wondering, why would I make such a big project? This thing here is used for two purposes. One is as to hold books in a shelf. The other reason is a really good secret hiding spot for things. In case you're wondering about how long it takes to make this, it only takes about 2 hours with my table router. And these are all 6 mil, and they're just layered one by one by one, which makes it really easy to assemble. If you're wondering about weight, the final weight of this thing is roughly 2.5 kilos, which is roughly, 5 pounds. So it's a really fun project to do. Now let's make it in the shop. I already have all my boards cut to size. So now we're just gonna drill them in place. This project here takes 7 boards. And it cuts actually pretty quick because the pieces are all rather large. And the assembly is a breeze. Everything just piles on one next to the other, next to the other, and you just need a lot of clamps to keep it all together until the glue dries. You might notice I have a few extra eyes here. I only need 2 for this model. But the reason is that the vacuum cleaner likes to eat them. I found with very small parts that it's better to make a few extra ones than to work on your model and then find out you're missing a little part because you forgot to check the vacuum cleaner. You also notice that I used a lot of screws here. I prefer to use far too many screws than not enough. Just because stuff likes to move around on me. MDF isn't the most solid board, and after you have a few screws into it, stuff just wiggles around. This project is now finished on the cutting stage, and now what we're going to do is assemble it all. This project here is rather extensive, So what I like to do is, after I've taken all the little pieces out, is actually spend some time and vacuum them, because I found that a lot of this sawdust gets stuck, especially for interlocking parts. And then you might not notice a big difference, but after you put 5 pieces of plywood, one after the other one, it becomes significant enough to start to actually affect your model. Now right now I'm just taking them out of the board. Some of these pieces are scrap, but I'll worry about that later on. The focus here is just to get the stuff out. As you can see, it comes out actually pretty easy. That's because of the tabs. The one thing you have to watch out for when you're doing this is not to get splinters stuck under your fingernail, which happens to me quite a bit, especially with models like these, because although you have tabs, they're still stuck all together, and you have just little splinters that come out of nowhere, and they just get you every time. This project will be rather heavy, which is on purpose, so I wanted to make something nice and big. And as you can already see, it's already getting rather messy. This is why it's very important to have a vacuum. Another thing you'll notice is that I don't have any numbers on these parts. That's because it's very straightforward. All I do is line them up this way, and I can just visually place them where they're supposed to go. Alright, well, let's speed up the video because this is rather boring. Alright, that was rather enjoyable. So like I said, you can line up all of these guys. I know because I designed it which pieces are good, which ones aren't. You can already see the nose here, so you know the nose has got to be in the middle. So this is why this model has a lot of pieces across 7 boards. It's actually pretty straightforward to cut and really easy to assemble, just because of this aspect of the design that I built into it. Because the last thing I want to do is be looking for numbers for these things. And all of these little blocks here that you'll see, those are actually the inside. That makes up the hidden compartment. These are the eyes. I got plenty of those. Alright, well, let's speed up the camera and let's put this whole thing together with some glue. These things here are the platform that the head sits on. Again, lots of little bits, a lot of it is scrap, so it would be nice for the fireplace. Warm up a whole house on the scrap that I make from all of this stuff. let's unglue this. And this should fit right inside of here, as it does. Now, I made a few mistakes with this model. I've already fixed them in the plans because I knew what they were. The first one is this thing here doesn't fit. The reason why is because when you build it in this system, layer by layer, even if your wood is just 6.05 millimeters thick, after quite a few layers, you end up with things not fitting. And in this case, I'm actually 6 mil off because every 0.5 adds and adds and adds and adds. At the end of here, I actually have another 6 mil of extra width created, even though I have the right number of pieces. So I'm going to cut that shortly. And another mistake I did was here. Here I have little tabs. We're supposed to go into a piece here so that it had perfect alignment. So you'd have this go inside, and the little tabs would hold it in place. So you wouldn't have any reason for this thing to move around. So that's fixed, and this I know. So let's cut it right now and find out how it goes. Well, as you can see, it came out really nice. It's the first time I ever do text with the ShopBot desktop, and I'm really happy with the results. I'll play around with it a little bit more later on. In the meantime, we're going to unscrew this board, and we're going to use these parts to replace what we had there before. So I hope you enjoyed that quick little video. The nice thing about making these things yourself is that if you do screw up, you usually know exactly what to do to fix it. So these are the new wider pieces, and I also took the opportunity to make, put it this way, a really cool little thing. It's pretty cool. All right. A little bit dusty, but not a big deal. It's part of the job. So let's see if these new pieces fit. And they fit just about perfectly. I should use a hammer to knock it in. I have a little bit of dust here. Let's see how this all came out together. This is why it's nice to have a whole bunch of clamps, because especially on projects like this, you always end up using it far more than you think you ever need. There we go, and that slides right in here. Perfect. And the Easter Island head is now finished and tested. Other than the screw ups that I did, which I fixed in the final files, works perfectly. I hope you enjoyed this CNC table router project. You can find it right now on CNCKing.com. I've also made a 3D animation to help you figure out how to quickly assemble it. But as you've seen, I screwed up a little bit on this project, but whatever screw-ups you do make with a table router are really easy to fix in the final design. The problem I had is these boards here are a little bit more than 6 mil, and at the bottom here I had to give myself a little bit more spacing. But no big deal, it's really easy to solve. I'll see you in the next video.
Come on, baby girl, let's get it going on. I'ma hit the highway and do it my way. It ain't no game, girl, so I don't play games. I keep it up straight, right up in your face. So make your mind up, cause life is too short. I got the vest on, boy, put your belt on. Stop acting all cool like Kanye West. You be riding through the wire, and the time I get on fire. You don't want that, no, I don't want that, no. This goes out to bring some chicks so slow. Hit the backseat when you're doing the licking, kissing, squeezing. Do the damn thing, man.